Whew. Good morning. Thank you, Speaker Johnson, Congressman Mike Thompson, Congressman Graves. Beautiful story. Truly, my relation with my dad exactly the same way. I started right with my dad, and all the other sponsors that made this day possible. The honor is more than I ever expected, and I accept it with deep gratitude and also with a profound sense of humility. Today isn't just about reflecting on my own journey. It's about honoring the people, the places, and the moments that shaped it. From the beginning, I've had my parents, Bob and Bertha, who's passed away, my sisters, Karen and Kathy, my lovely wife, Kathy, and her family, and our children, Jeff, Scott, and Simone. And Otto Jacome is here. Otto Jacome, and all of the teammates that made my career possible. Cycling was an unusual sport for a 14-year-old kid in 1976, to say. In fact, I didn't even know the sport existed until one day a bicycle race passed my home. Kind of colorful, but very interesting. After winning my first race, I became passionately obsessed with cycling. And as an American, I believed that if I worked hard enough, anything was possible. So I set my dream of becoming the best cyclist in the world, and that meant moving to Europe at the age of 19. I brought an American attitude to the sport of cycling. I was open to new ideas, bringing innovation and technology to a very traditional sport. And that was a huge competitive advantage as a competitor. But Europe has also taught me a lot. There's a long history between our nations, from the Revolutionary War through World War II, and through that shared history came respect, friendship, and connection. I've always felt that in the way the French embraced me, they called me l'Américain, the American, and I was proud of that. At one point, my parents even suggested I lean into it. Wear a cowboy hat and boots, they told me. I didn't go quite that far, although I did grow up in Reno, Nevada, and rode horses before I rode a bike. I was just a blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid from America, and for some reason, that resonated with people. I think many Europeans saw in me a reminder of what the U.S. has meant to Europe at critical times, as an ally, a liberator, and a friend. One experience really brought that home. A few years ago, while filming for the Tour de France, I was sitting in this tiny little village at the foothills of the Alps. 80 people live there, if that, when an older man walked up. My good friend Patrick recognized him right away. He was the engineer who designed the carbon fiber disc wheels that I used to win the 1986 Tour de France, the first ever victory by an American. We hadn't seen each other in years, and he was thrilled to reconnect and told me the full story behind those wheels, details I'd never known. I told him I wish I still had that pair because they were the first carbon fiber wheels to win a Tour de France. I kind of collected as I got older, I wanted my stuff that I used when I was racing. He said, "Would you like them?" Of course I would. He smiled and he said, "They're in my mother's garage." She was 104 years old. "Come meet her," he said. So my wife and I walked 100 yards through the quiet village. He opened the garden gate and knocked on the door. "Mother," he said, "this is Greg LeMond, the American who won the Tour de France on my wheels." She lit up, hugged me and my wife, and said, "Please come in, my Americans. Please come in, my American." In her house, on the couch, was a blanket of the American flag. On the walls were framed photos of magazine clippings all about America. We asked her, why so much American memorabilia? And she told us, as a young woman during the war, she watched German forces occupy her village. Her father and brothers had fled into the mountains to join the resistance. She rode her bicycle through the countryside to deliver food and information, risking her life every day on every trip. Sadly, one of her brothers was killed in fighting. And then the Americans came. She said, "The Americans saved my father, they saved my family, they saved my country." And she cried as she told us, and so did we. That moment has stayed with me. It reminded me that being an American, especially abroad, carries a legacy of sacrifice, of courage in showing up when it matters most. So I am honored beyond words to receive this Congressional Gold Medal. I stand here knowing this honor isn't mine alone. It belongs to every teammate, every supporter, every family member, and to all the extraordinary Americans whose courage and sacrifice made my life and career possible. And I am proud to be an American. And I thank you, all of you, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Look.